Hello and welcome back to Joe's Math Tools, where math is made easy. In our session today, we will be solving a rational equation by using the lowest common denominator. So if you want to see how this is done, let's get started. We're going to be solving our equation today by finding the LCD, or the lowest common denominator, for both of our terms and our denominator. So we have, in our first fraction, we have 2a plus 7, and in the second fraction we have a in our denominator. So our denominator must be made up of both of these parts in our denominators. So my LCD for both of these parts in my denominator will be a, and in parentheses I will have 2a plus 7. You must remember that even though a and 2a are somewhat similar, remember that a is just a single variable or term by itself, and 2a plus 7 is an expression that cannot be separated. So we must work with finding our LCD with both of these parts exactly as they are. So my LCD is going to be my a and my 2a plus 7 in parentheses. So now we are going to begin by converting our fractions now into their equivalent forms, where the denominators are made up of both of these parts. So let's start with our first fraction, which is 9, and in our denominator we have the expression 2a plus 7, and that is going to be multiplied to our LCD, which is a and 2a plus 7. I remember, I always stress to you that whenever you are finding your LCD, when you have expressions and terms or wherever the case may be in the denominator, not to expand your parentheses, but to leave the terms as they are, so that as you simplify, it will help you to be able to work through the individual parts a whole lot easier. So from this, my 2a's plus 7 will cancel, leaving me with just 9 and a. So this will equal to 9a. So we will put 9a in our numerator for our first fraction. And now we're going to be doing the exact same thing with my second fraction, which is 3a, and that would also be multiplied to our LCD. And then we are going to follow the same steps and cancel what is common, and then calculate what remains. So my a's will cancel, and I will now have my 3 being multiplied to 2a, which will equal to 6a, and my 3 will also be multiplied to 7, which will equal to 21. So my second expression will be 6a plus 21. And now that our fractions all have the same LCD, we are now just going to work the equation without our denominator and begin by collecting our like terms. So I will group my a's together. So 9a minus 6a will equal to 21. So 9a minus 6a will equal to 3a. Now we're moving into our one-step equation, and we will divide both sides of our equation by 3 to get our variable a on one side by itself. So my 3's will cancel, leaving me with a, and 21 when divided by 3 is equal to 7, and 3 divided by 3 will equal to 1. So my a is equal to 7. Okay, so we found that a was equal to 7, so let's perform our check, and we will be substituting my 7 for a everywhere that it appears in our equation. So now let's simplify this denominator. So we have 2 times 7 plus 7, and 2 times 7 is 14, and 14 plus 7 will equal to 21. So our 9 over 21 equal to 3/7. And with these two fractions, if you look at them closely, you will realize that we have what we call equivalent fractions. These are when we have two fractions whose value is the same, but the numbers are different. So these two fractions are actually equal, and I'm going to show you this from two different point of views. So my first step I'm going to show you is by showing this by multiplication. And in using the multiplication, I'll be looking for the LCD of 7 and 21, which we know is 21. So I know that 7 times 3 is going to give me 21. So when 3 is multiplied to 3, that will equal to 9. And 7 times 3 will equal to 21. And as you can tell, we now have the same fraction on both sides of our equation. So we have 9/21, and then the equivalent fraction when converted to the LCD is also the same thing. And then with my equivalent fraction, we could also look at this from the viewpoint of division. Remember that we can make fractions equivalent by multiplication or by division. So we have our 3/7. I will put that back. And then in looking at this next fraction, where I multiply 3 on the right hand side of this equation, I'm going to now divide both sides of this equation by 3. And we know that 9 divided by 3 will equal to 3, and 21 divided by 3 will equal to 7. So in both cases, we see that our equivalent fractions work out to the exact same thing. The answers may be different, but like I said, with equivalent fraction, these are two fractions whose amount is the same, but the numbers are just different. So they are equal fractions. So this tells me that my answer A equals 7 is the correct solution for this equation. And I hope this was helpful. I hope you were able to follow along and flow with the steps easily. Remember to get some practice in. As always, I would always encourage you to get additional practice in, because it does help you develop your skills. So make sure that when you're ready to learn a new skill, that you return back to Jules Math Tools, where we make math easy.